What if Goku was destined for something greater? Imagine if, from the moment he was born, a mysterious system guided his path, quests, levels, abilities, and power-ups, pushing him beyond his limits, granting him more power than what he originally had. This is the story of Goku from Dragon Ball, all the way to Dragon Ball Super, and even beyond, where every challenge brings him closer to unimaginable strength. Welcome to What If Goku Had a System? My name is Ash. Please, for me, drop a like and subscribe to the page. Also leave your comments down below. With that, let's begin. The moment Goku stepped through the portal, the air around him shifted. A strange energy washed over his body, and in an instant, he found himself in a completely different world. Just as he was about to take in his surroundings, a system prompt suddenly flashed before his eyes. A blue, glowing panel hovered in front of him, displaying a message in clear, bold letters.
You are now in the world of solo leveling.
Goku blinked in confusion. His eyes followed another message that popped up in the notification tab. Without thinking, he raised his hand and tapped the floating panel, opening the tab. There, at the top left corner of his interface, a progress bar sat at exactly 0%. His brow furrowed as he stared at it. "Great Sage, what is this?" Goku asked, keeping his gaze locked on the strange bar. A mechanical yet calm voice echoed in his mind, the voice of the system itself.
This is the world's completion progress bar. The moment this bar reaches 100%, the world will be marked as complete. Upon its completion, the other two worlds will unlock, allowing you to choose your next destination.
Goku scratched his head, trying to piece together what it meant. Oh, so this thing tracks my progress in this world, right?
Correct.
A small grin appeared on Goku's face. This feels kinda like those MMORPG video games I see Trunks and Goten play over at Bulma's. He folded his arms, tilting his head slightly. I never really got why they were so into it. But hey, they were having fun, and that's all that matters. You're telling me this whole system thing works kinda like that?
Yes.
The answer was immediate, confirming his suspicion.
The system was designed in the simplest way for mortals to understand.
Goku narrowed his eyes slightly. What for? There was something about this whole thing that didn't sit right with him. He had seen a lot of strange things in his life, from gods to time travelers to beings beyond mortal comprehension. But this system, it was different. It had a purpose. But what was that purpose? And more importantly, just what is the system? Goku asked, his tone more serious than before. He clenched his fist slightly. Why does it exist? And why did it choose me? For a moment, there was silence. Then, instead of an answer, another message panel popped up in front of him.
Tutorial mode has been completed. Good luck, player number 100.07.
And just like that, the message vanished. The notification tab closed, and now only Goku's stats remained displayed before him. It was as if the system had suddenly gone silent, as if it had switched into offline mode. Goku's expression darkened. "System?" he called out. No response. "Great Sage?" Again, nothing. His gaze lingered on the floating status screen, his mind racing with questions. The system had guided him up until now, but suddenly, it had gone quiet. Was it really just a tool designed to help him, or was there something more to it? A strange silence filled the air. The system had gone completely quiet. Goku frowned, still staring at the floating interface before him. Great Sage, the voice that had been guiding him, was suddenly nowhere to be heard. It was as if it had been shut down, or worse, reset. Unbeknownst to Goku, the Great Sage had only been active during the tutorial mode, a temporary function meant to guide a player through the basics of the system. The moment the tutorial ended, the system had reverted to level 1, just like him. It no longer had the vast knowledge or capabilities it once displayed. And just like the 99 players before him, Goku was now on his own. A sudden thud echoed through the cavern, snapping Goku's attention forward. Then another and another. Something was coming. Goku perked up, his Saiyan instincts instantly sharpening. His ears twitched as he caught the unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps, small but fast, closing in on him. Then, bursting from the darkness, two creatures lunged forward. Their skin was sickly green, their bodies hunched and grotesque, with jagged teeth and beady yellow eyes gleaming in the dim light. One carried a crude wooden club, while the other gripped a rusted dagger. Goku's eyes widened slightly. What the heck are those things? He had fought beasts, aliens, androids, and gods, But these creatures were different. They weren't animals like Oolong or Puar. They didn't speak, didn't hesitate. There was no intelligence in their eyes, only pure, bloodthirsty instinct. They were monsters. The goblins shrieked and charged forward. Without thinking, Goku's body moved on its own. His stance shifted. A natural fighting posture honed through years of battle experience. "Guess I'll have to figure this out the hard way," he muttered, eyes locked on the incoming enemies. Then, out of the corner of his vision, a blue panel flickered into existence.
Mandatory subquest acquired. Objective: eliminate lesser goblins. 0 of 2. Accept yes or no.
Goku's jaw tightened. A quest? He didn't have time to think. The goblins were already lunging at him, their weapons raised. Man, this really is like one of those games. He exhaled sharply, still struggling to process it all. XP, quests, stats. It was nothing like the battles he was used to. But right now, there was no time to hesitate. As the monsters closed the gap, his instincts kicked in. "Fine," he muttered, mentally pressing yes.
Subquest accepted.
The goblin on the left lunged first, its jagged dagger gleaming under the dim dungeon light. The blade wasn't ordinary. It was a bear claw dagger, forged from the claws of a rune bear, a vicious monster found in higher-tier dungeons. It wasn't considered special among hunters, as even D-rank warriors could obtain one with enough grinding, but its razor-sharp edge made it deadly, capable of slicing through monsters far stronger than the goblin itself. At the same time, the second goblin leaped into the air, gripping a crude wooden club. Unlike the dagger, this weapon was nothing remarkable, just a primitive tool most goblins used for hunting. Still, in the hands of a savage creature, it could do some real damage if left unchecked. Both monsters attacked at once. The first goblin slashed low, aiming for Goku's legs. The second goblin swung downward, its club arcing toward the top of Goku's skull. But Goku didn't move. To him, these weapons were worthless. Man-made weapons can't hurt me if my guard is up. He smirked slightly, recalling a time when only androids or beings with godly power could even make him break a sweat. The wooden club slammed into his head with a loud crack, but instead of hurting him, the club itself shattered upon impact, exploding into splinters. At the same time, the goblin's dagger struck his leg. A sharp snap echoed through the cavern. The dagger broke in half, the shattered blade clattering to the ground. Both goblins immediately jumped back, their glowing yellow eyes wide with confusion. They exchanged nervous glances, trying to comprehend what just happened. Goku grinned. "Heh, told ya?" Then he felt it. A stinging pain crept up from his leg. It was small, but noticeable. Something was wrong. Slowly, he looked down. His leg was bleeding. His smirk vanished instantly. His heartbeat quickened as his mind processed the impossible. What? That shouldn't be possible. It didn't make sense. These goblins, these weak little things, shouldn't even be able to scratch him. A weapon like that wouldn't have even tickled his Saiyan body before. Then it hit him. This was his mistake. His body wasn't what it used to be. For the first time, Goku realized just how weak he had become. His power level was only 100. The exact amount he had when he fought in the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai as a kid. He still had the body of an adult, but his strength, speed, and durability were no different from when he was a child. The only reason he could withstand that attack was because of his natural Saiyan endurance. If he had been just a regular human at this level, that dagger might have cut much deeper. A sudden notification appeared before him.
System alert.
A health bar flashed on the screen.
Health, 93 of 100.
Goku's eyes narrowed. What is this? His heart pounded. He had taken damage, real, actual damage, and now the system was showing him just how much. "Great Sage," he called out again, but just like before, there was no response. He clenched his fists, frustration creeping into his voice. Stats, health bar, what is all this? He closed the pop-up, but his mind was racing. Everything about him, his strength, speed, endurance, was now tied to the system. His real-life health was linked to the health bar, and those numbers weren't just some random game mechanic. They meant something. He was slowly understanding. For the first time in his life, Goku was in a battle where he couldn't rely on his usual power. He had to fight smart. He had to level up. And if he wanted to survive in this world, he needed to do it fast. Goku looked down at his leg once more, his eyes narrowing at the shallow cut. It wasn't deep, but it was enough to remind him of something important. He was weak. His fists clenched involuntarily. Why am I so... Before he could finish the thought, a sharp presence surged behind him. His instincts screamed at him. The first goblin had circled behind him, lunging forward with its arms outstretched, fingers sharpened like deadly spears. Its nails gleamed under the dim dungeon light, aiming straight for his back. But Goku had seen this attack before. Not from goblins, but from warriors, assassins, and even gods. He moved in an instant. Spinning on his heel, he caught the goblin's wrist mid-strike. The creature's eyes widened in shock, but before it could react, Goku's fist slammed into its gut. A powerful shockwave rippled through the goblin's body, sending it flying backward at breakneck speed. It smashed into the stone wall, the force cracking the surface before its lifeless body slumped to the ground. As the dust settled, a blue panel flashed in front of Goku.
One of 2 lesser goblins killed.
Then another message appeared.
Gluttony skill activated. 5% of any defeated enemy's stats converted into attribute points.
Goku's brow furrowed as more information filled his vision.
Your health has increased by 2. Your power level has increased by 5.
He exhaled sharply. One punch, and it's dead? He didn't mean to kill it. His strength was low, but it was still enough. He thought back to all the enemies he had fought before. This was different. This wasn't a battle of equals. This was survival. His thoughts were cut short as the second goblin suddenly shrieked in pure terror. It turned on its heels and bolted deeper into the dungeon, its panicked footsteps echoing through the cavern. Scared, huh? Goku muttered, scratching his head. He had no intention of chasing after it. If it didn't want to fight anymore, then what was the point? He had already won. But just as he was about to let it go, another system panel appeared in front of him.
Quest objective, kill lesser goblins. Failure to complete quest will result in a penalty quest. Difficulty, SS rank.
Goku blinked. Huh? SS rank? He had no idea what that meant. The message continued. Quest will fail if the goblin alerts its horde. A countdown timer suddenly appeared in front of him.
10, 9, 8.
His eyes shot toward the retreating goblin. It had pulled out a small bone horn and was seconds away from blowing it. Goku's expression darkened. He already surrendered, he muttered, fists tightening. What's the point of killing an opponent that doesn't want to fight anymore? It went against everything he believed in. The first goblin had attacked with the intent to kill. Goku didn't feel guilty about that one. It was either him or the goblin. But this one, it was running away. But the system didn't care.
5, 4.
Goku's heartbeat pounded in his ears.
Penalty quest.
What the hell even is a penalty quest? He muttered under his breath. He had barely wrapped his head around the concept of quests, let alone whatever this was. His jaw tightened. Great Sage decided to go silent at the worst possible time, huh?
3, 2.
Whatever. He exhaled, shaking his head. It can't be that bad, right? The countdown hit 0. The air around Goku cracked like shattered glass, a sharp sound echoing through the cavern as reality itself warped. The very space around him twisted unnaturally, like something was ripping through the fabric of existence. Then, without warning, a black portal burst open in front of him. A red system message flashed across his vision.
Quest failed.
Goku's eyes narrowed as he stared at the swirling darkness before him. He could feel it. An overwhelming presence beyond the portal, something far stronger than the goblins he had just fought. His instincts sharpened, his body tensed. This was different. Yet, despite the ominous energy leaking from the portal, he couldn't help but grin. Something strong, huh? He cracked his knuckles. Guess this penalty quest thing won't be so bad after all. Unbeknownst to him, instant penalty quests were the worst type of punishment a player could receive. Normally, penalty quests would give the player time to prepare, but because he had failed a mandatory quest, the system had thrown him into one immediately, without warning, without mercy. But Goku didn't know that. He didn't hesitate. He stepped through the portal. The moment he crossed over, the portal snapped shut behind him, sealing his exit. Goku now stood before an enormous stone door, towering over him like the gates of an ancient fortress. The cold, damp air carried a strange weight, almost like an invisible force was pressing down on him. There was no way back, only forward. Without a second thought, he placed his hands on the massive doors and pushed. The doors groaned as they slowly swung open, revealing a grand temple. His eyes scanned the room. Colossal statues lined the circular walls, each gripping a different weapon: swords, spears, warhammers, all positioned as if they were watching him. Their stone-carved faces were void of emotion, yet they felt unnervingly lifelike. Then, at the center of the temple, sat a much larger statue, perched atop an ornate throne. Its presence dwarfed the others, radiating an undeniable sense of authority. Beneath its feet lay a stone tablet, held by a smaller statue. Goku's gaze fell upon the ancient inscriptions carved into its surface. "Thou shalt kneel before God. Thou shalt worship God." His eyes trailed further down. Another set of words etched in bold stood out below the commandments. "Those who do not keep the commandments shall not escape death." Goku frowned. What kind of place is this? As he stepped further into the temple, the massive doors slammed shut behind him, the sound booming through the chamber. He didn't even turn around. He was locked in. Then a system panel appeared in front of him.
Penalty quest activated. Quest objective: survive for 1 minute against God. Quest rewards: XP unknown, random loot box, a new skill.
Before he could process it, the panel disappeared.
That hurt!
Goku roared, blood spitting from his mouth as he forced himself back onto his feet. His arms trembled slightly, his body screaming in pain, but he gritted his teeth and stood firm. The sheer force of that last hit was unlike anything he had felt in a long time. He was starting to understand the system. When the goblin had struck him earlier, his health had dropped to 93, but it had slowly recovered to 100, then 102, thanks to his gluttony skill. The damage had been minor, but this was different. A single attack had nearly killed him. His health had plummeted from 102 to 25. Another hit like that, and he was dead. For the first time since arriving in this world, a harsh realization set in. This wasn't a game. This was real. And unlike in his old world, there were no Dragon Balls to bring him back. His breathing was heavy, his heart pounding in his chest. The system had called him the 100th player. That meant 99 others had come before him. 99 players had died. His stomach twisted at the thought. If he died here, what would happen? Would he go to the other world, where King Yemma waited? Or was this world's afterlife something else entirely? Would he just cease to exist? The thought sent a chill down his spine. He clenched his fists, his eyes darting across the temple. The god statue remained motionless, watching in eerie silence. But the other statues were still moving, and they weren't done yet. Suddenly, the spear-wielding statue hurled its weapon forward. The air split apart as the spear tore through it at incredible speed, heading straight for Goku's chest. His instincts kicked in. At the last second, he dropped to his knees, the spear whistling just inches over his head, before slamming into the stone wall behind him. Boom! Dust and debris exploded from the impact, cracks spiderwebbing across the ancient temple walls. The sheer power behind that throw made Goku's heart pound even harder. He barely had time to catch his breath before another system message flashed before him.
30 seconds remaining.
His eyes widened. What? Only 30 seconds? To him, it felt like he had been fighting for an hour. Every second dragged on, stretching into eternity. If only I had my strength, he muttered under his breath. For the first time, regret crept into his mind. Giving up his power had seemed like a simple choice at the time, but now he was facing death. Then, something unexpected happened. And that's it for today's episode, guys. If you watched to the end, then that could be an indication that you enjoy the series. So, please leave a like on the video. Thank you and take care.